Some say I spend my time scouring the bottom of the ocean for overlooked and underutilized replays. I am TheFish, and today I'm here to bring you guys another awesome Starcraft2 cast. Now today I've got a special best of 5 for you guys, which was sent to me by WhiteRa himself. WhiteRa has a tendency to send special replays to his subscribers, so if you're one of his subscribers you get the added benefit of that. Get some nice special emails from Special Tactics Master himself. Now today this was a show match that was done on the EU servers. It was for Playhem TV, and it's going to be between Nerchio and WhiteRa. So I want to talk a little bit about Nerchio and WhiteRa. If you don't know, Nerchio, he's a Grandmaster Zerg player on the EU servers. He's just a really good Zerg player in general. Not much else to say. I wouldn't put him quite on the level of, say, like Nesty or any of the top Koreans, but he's extremely good Zerg player. So, you know, if you're a Zerg player, you get to watch him and learn to maybe improve your techniques. Now, in the top right corner we have WhiteRa himself, the master of special tactics. One of the best Protoss, certainly one of the best Protoss in the EU, if not in the entire world. So it should be a pretty good matchup. Like I said before, it's a best of 5, so we're going to see how this plays itself out. Now, I did actually watch these games live, which was pretty cool to actually get to see that happening. Watching him, WhiteRa play live was pretty cool. I actually had both of their streams open at the same time, so you can kind of get both perspectives on things. Now, another funny thing today is going to be this map. We're playing on GSL Calm Before the Storm, which some of you guys may not be familiar with. It's not a ladder map. It's a GSL map, and the GSL. If you guys don't know what the GSL is, you should know what the GSL is. That's where all the Koreans play. Some of the top players play in it, but it's kind of a weird map, this one. You have basically one main entrance into your base. You've got a ramp leading up to your main. A pretty easily defensible natural expansion, but then you've also got this in-base, so I guess you could call this another natural expansion. So this map it's really easy to defend on this map, so it really lends itself to macro games. You almost always see players get onto 3 bases fairly quickly. So we see Nerchio, he did open up pool first, so he could get some map control. And he's got 1 hatchery going down, and already a 2nd hatchery going down at the 4-minute mark. So a very economical build for Nerchio. Now he did get 4 lings out. WhiteRa didn't try to block him at all. And Nerchio now trying to run in, but one of the disadvantages of doing this build that WhiteRa did is not having any zealots out, but he will have his second Nexus up really quickly. He's already working on pumping out probes there, so a few lings are going to get into WhiteRa's mineral line, but WhiteRa's got such good control with his probes. As you can see, he's able to deal with this without losing any. And he's able to just pull a few probes off to just take these out. So if you're kind of, a mid-level player, maybe you're gold or you're platinum or something, practice doing that. Practice controlling only a few units at a time to try and deal with Zerglings. A lot of times a Zerg player will try to do just damage to you by forcing you to pull off all of your probes, and that can be pretty bad. Now, even though WhiteRa's not taking damage, Nerchio does know everything that's going on in his base, so he does see that the Cybernetics core is just now getting thrown down, so that should be a pretty good signal to him that, hey, I get the opportunity to decide what I want to do next. The ball essentially is in Nerchio's court. He can continue to macro up, which is what I will assume that he's going to do, or he could try to do some kind of an attack. Now, WhiteRa already, again, throwing down his 3rd base. Now, like I said, Calm Before the Storm is a very big macro map. So really, it can be an interesting map. You almost always see it play out as a 3-base versus 3-base situation. So we'll see what happens in this particular game. Now, like I said, I did have the fortune of seeing this game live, so I do kind of know what's going to happen. Unlike in my other casts where it's my first time watching. So WhiteRa poking in with 1 zealot here, and Nerchio doesn't have any more Zerglings. he's going to definitely just try and get the scout out and maybe see if he can pick off a drone or two. He's going to turn back now. So I'm not really sure why he's doing that, but this is WhiteRa we're talking about. Man, we're having a death match here. And I think this guy's going to get finally taken out. Wow, WhiteRa does actually manage to save that Zealot. Nerchio smartly putting an Overlord here, which could be useful for spotting any hidden tech if he tries to hide it over there. So let's start to take a look at these two players' builds. WhiteRa only has, he's got about 5 gateways coming out. He's got Warp Gate on the way. So another gateway, that'll be 6 gateways. It'll be interesting to see what he does. You can actually support a lot of gateways off of 3 bases like this, but he's still on 2 gas. So what's he gonna do here? Not really sure. He could just stick with gateways. I mean, you can 4-gate off of 1 base, so it stands to reason that if you're on 3 bases, you can essentially 12-gate. If you're not supporting any Templar units, or you're not supporting any sort of robo units, you could do 12 gates. But, well, not sure if I would advise doing that. Meanwhile, Nerchio, he's pumping out a couple Zerglings. Still no Zergling speed. That's just now being started. He was delaying his gas a little bit to try and get as many drones as he can out. And now that he's saturated at all his bases, he's probably, well, he's got 6 gas geysers. And I know what he's going to do, but I'm wondering if you guys know what he's going to do. So his layer's going to be finishing up, so we should be able to see what he's going to be doing. Meanwhile, WhiteRa is now going to be pushing out with his gateway units. He's got a whole bunch of gateways, even more coming down, finishing up. And he's going to be pushing in here, and oh, this is going to be bad for WhiteRa. A lot of wings are going to get surrounds on these sentries. Some good force fields are going to delay the inevitable here and manage to get a bunch of wings down, but I think these sentries will die eventually. At least they should. And it's not really something that you really want to do. You don't want to lose your sentries right away. Now WhiteRa backing up his units with another wave, and this could be a different story here. He's got several Zealots with that +1, which means that they can 2-shot Zerglings, so that makes them very strong against Zerglings. Nerchio now morphing some Banelings to try and deal with this, and it looks like that he's going to get a really good surround on these units, so I'm not sure if WhiteRa's going to be able to back out here. He's going to have to stand and fight against these units. And the Banelings are going to come crashing into his units now. So not the best exchange for WhiteRa. We see the supplies are pretty even. But +1 Zealots, man, are so good against Zerglings. You can see right here, they're just taking out, a couple Zealots are just taking out almost all these Zerglings. So if you're Zerg and you see that your opponent's got +1, you need to either get +1 armor, or you need to figure out some ways to make your Zerglings more cost effective. So WhiteRa's going to continue to poke and prod in here, and he's doing some general damage and causing some mayhem. A ton of Banelings coming on now to kind of deal with these. And, well, Nerchio is basically able to get himself back up and running, but some general disarray being caused, and trading gas Banelings for just Zealots is sometimes not the best trade, but it can be tough. It can be tough to efficiently deal with this kind of pressure in the early game. So now Nerchio's coming out with his Mutalisk, and if you didn't know before, if you see a Zerg player throw down 6 gas geysers in the early, I guess, to mid-game, it's a good bet that he's going to be probably going for those Mutalisks, because otherwise it's just too much gas to really support other units. So we're going to be seeing some gateway units versus a very rapidly growing flock of Mutalisks. And this is one of those things where I know that Protoss players have a lot of trouble dealing with the Mutalisk ball. And the Tempest is going to be coming into the heart of the swarm, but as the game stands right now, it's really hard to deal with this. Now, WhiteRa is wisely seeing that Nerchio doesn't have any detection in his base, so he's going to be sending some Dark Templars in to try and get some kills, queuing up attacks on Zerglings, on drones, sorry. And so this guy's going to be killing a few before. It looks like Nerchio, I did hear this sound that he was morphing an Overseer somewhere. He should be dealing with this at some point. But again, more general havoc being caused in Nerchio's base. He's kind of forced to pull all his units into a clump and move them away. So he's losing mining time essentially, and finally he's going to be losing that Dark Templar. But the Dark Templar definitely paying for itself in terms of damage done. So WhiteRa's got to be sensing that these Mutalisks are going to be moving in, and he's already put his Stalkers into great position. So wow, that's kind of a sixth sense kind of thing by WhiteRa there. And Nerchio, he is going to take his pylon down. I was going to say, why would he just ignore that? I'm not sure. So WhiteRa, he's continuing to pump out upgrades for his units now, +1/+1, so that's pretty good upgrades. And well, at this point, WhiteRa teching a little bit. He has a Robo, a Stargate. I guess he may just be keeping his options opening because he's not making anything. He's got a couple pylons hidden around the map so that he can pull off some kind of attack. And again, great positioning by these Stalkers. But that is a lot of Mutalisks. A few of them getting taken out there. But Mutalisks are very expensive compared to Stalkers. So if you have a ball of Mutalisks, you can engage Stalkers, but it's not going to be the most cost-effective thing in the world. It's really not ideal. So WhiteRa reacting a little bit late to this. He's going to probably lose that forge, but in the process, he's going to continue to weaken this Mutalisk flock, which is what you really want to do. And here we go. Warp Prism moved in for WhiteRa, and he's going to be harassing this third base. It's going to get taken out fairly quickly. Not too many losses for Nerchio there. This beautiful flock just continues to fly around. So this is the kind of the metagame that we're seeing evolve fairly often now into in ZVP, where you see it's kind of the Ling Muta builds against a lot of gateway units. And WhiteRa's got his Stalkers in a good position. He's going to be hiding a base down here, but it's going to get spotted by Nerchio, so they'll just cancel that right away. No point in trying to secure a hidden base against a Zerg that has map control. Now the Mutalisks moving in, they do manage to take out a few probes just because they do so much damage, but they're going to be taking a lot of parting shots on their way out of here. So it remains to be seen how WhiteRa's actually going to really deal with this. Nerchio has map control. WhiteRa's stuck in his base. He can't move out without Nerchio finding a few free kills for this Dark Templar here. He can't move out of his base without Nerchio finding where he is, seeing exactly what he's doing. But again, Nerchio's still on 3 bases, and he looks to be wondering what his income looks like. He's actually behind on harvesters now, so all that harassment by WhiteRa is actually way more effective than the Mutalisk harass from Nerchio. Part of that could just be this map, how it's pretty close quarters, but I don't know, it's weird. About this map, I really don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of a strange one. You are basically guaranteeing that both players are going to get onto 3 bases, and I feel like a 3-base 10 or 3-base Protoss is a lot scarier than a 3-base Zerg, and it can be tough for a Zerg to make this leap here, which Nerchio is trying to do right now to get his 4th base up, which is what he starts to need to do at this point, although I will say that he could use a few more harvesters. So we do see Flyer Carapace coming down, +1 melee, which that's a pretty late upgrade. I would have liked to have seen that much earlier from Nerchio. Actually, he's just kind of lacking in upgrades altogether. I mean, WhiteRa's going for +3/+3 and Psionic Storm right now. So WhiteRa's going to be way ahead on the upgrades, which is going to make a huge difference in the inevitable battles that are going to show up. And now more Mutalisks getting taken out. Blinkstalker's pretty good against Mutalisks. Oh no! That Mutaflock is fleeing for its life right now from these Stalkers. And I think that's going to be the signal for WhiteRa to move out. And it looks like he's moving all of his forces. And again, this is basically just a gateway army. And you can make a very effective gateway army as Protoss. He's got Psionic Storms lined up. He's got +2/+2, soon to be +2/+3 on his units. So just really well played by WhiteRa. He's going to probably try and secure this fourth base here, since he does know that Nerchio has his fort. So now it looks like we're going to see a Ling Muta battle, and that's pretty scary because Banelings can blow up pretty effectively against these Stalker Balls, but will it be enough? I don't know. So here we go. We're going to have a big engagement here. Nerchio coming in, and wow, look at those storms! Unbelievable storms! And they just managed to kill every single Zerg unit, and congrats to Nerchio. So yeah, that's how you clean up a Zerg army. I want to see how much supply did he just lose. He went from, let's see, I want to see that again. Okay, so here's this final battle again. I just want to again note the upgrades for both players, and note that Nerchio's way out of position here. And so here we go. Nerchio tries to get a good engagement here, but the storms, man, they just end up decimating my army. So what a crazy game. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, I don't want to say like that's how you deal with that composition from the Zerg, but that is how you deal with the composition from the Zerg, and hopefully you get a good engagement like that. So again, praising WhiteRa, and we're going to move on to game 2 now. Thanks for watching.